I want to talk about our oceans are turning to plastic. I know not all of you guys read that, but even if you didn't read it, you still might want to talk about something there, because that is really as far as we're going in the material that we're looking at with like any environmental stuff. And obviously you're not going to be able to do global warming because I said you can't, but you may want to talk about something else. Really quick, one of the reasons why we don't talk about global warming is because regardless of if it's true or not, it can be 100% verifiably true, and yet you will never convince some people. The people that really need to be convinced of it, they're never going to believe it. Like, there's nothing you can tell them. There's no fact, there's no expert testimony that you can put in front of their face that's going to prove that to them. Because there's always the possibility of, well, sure, the world might be warming right now, but we've only been documenting this stuff for a short amount of time, and it could be a long cycle where it goes warm and then cold and warm and cold. There's been ice ages, there's been heating ages. So like they can always pull from that, and we can't go that far back, or it's difficult to then prove that, and it doesn't get to the point that we want, which is for them to stop the things that do cause global warming. What you can talk to them about, which you can actually prove, is what we're doing to the environment that makes it pretty much toxic. All the things that we do to destroy the environment, regardless of if it's heating up or not, there are things that we're doing that are poisoning it, that are making it the entire planet a landfill. And that's something that could get you the same result. If you can convince them of that, you can get the same result of what you wanted with the global warming argument. Does that make sense? Make the argument that you can convince them of to get the result that you want. All right, so our oceans are turning to plastic. Did anyone read this?
I did.
Oh, good. All right, so what were some significant things here that were important?
It's just that all the plastics that are in the oceans are basically going to end up in our own bodies and damage our health and our future as like humans in general.
Yeah. So if you read this later, or if you suffered through it because it's a little bit longer, you'll probably notice that the first like 9 paragraphs, so the first whole page is like an introduction. Now, you're never going to write that long of an introduction, no matter how much you want to, but because you don't have enough time to do that. So because this was like an editorial piece, they were able to do that, and it gives context to what's going on, so that she follows this one dude, that's Charles Moore, and he finds, what do we call these?
The Great Pacific Garbage Patch?
Yes, there we go. Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Well, that's the problem. How many of these do we have?
3.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
How many do we have? You guys probably learned this in high school. Come on. Oh, someone's just trying to type it up to figure it out.
I am.
We have 2.
Come on, guys. Well, in the Pacific, we have 2. We have 5 altogether, but because the Pacific Ocean is so big, we have an extra 2 in there, and they form because of the currents of water. You guys get how that works, right?
Yeah.
Anyone watch Finding Nemo, and there's, the currents in the ocean? This is called the thermohaline system. And so depending on temperature and salinity of the water, we get this really cool current that actually circulates our oceans, and it takes maybe about like 100 years or so, depending on whatever scientists have figured out about it now. But roughly around 100 years for all the water in the ocean to circulate. And that's cool, right? Because you want circulation, but it also does this thing. So we have doldrums, which are parts where there's not so much wind, and you kind of see it swirl into areas that then congregate whatever we've been putting into the ocean, which is a bunch of plastic. And so we've got 5 of these things. And the one that he stumbles upon, Charles Moore, was, how big was this one?
It went on for like hundreds of miles.
Yeah, they gave an image for you. It's twice the size of Texas. Is that big? our oceans are huge, right? They are the largest portion of the earth, the surface of the earth. So yeah, twice the size of Texas. That's easy, but it's huge and frightening. So that's just one of them. So he finds that one, and so like you were saying, was that Amir or Ali who was talking about that?
Yeah, I did.
So you got to the point of it. Good job. That's where we're going. So some people would not care. They don't give a crap. They don't see what's in the oceans. They never even go to the beach. The beach sucks. I'm all about hiking in the mountains. Think about the people that you're talking to. Think about who needs to be convinced of this stuff. How does it affect them? So they lead you to it, right? That it gets into the fish and gets into the food chain, and then somehow it ends up in your body. So they showed, now if you care about animals, well, that hits you there, right? Because you can go online and you can see images of it, right? There's like a dead seagull, and then it's opened up, and they counted 1,603 pieces of plastic in that animal. The animal just kept eating it, right? Maybe it misunderstood it for food. Maybe while it was going for a source of food, it got a bunch of that in its mouth. How did that animal die?
Its internal organs failed because of the plastic inside of it.
So maybe. Maybe. What's the most obvious way that they could have died?
Maybe like intoxication.
Really? This
Suffocation.
Now you're getting there. If the animal is filled with that much plastic, how can it even digest food? Right? Think about it to that extent. So we're not just eating plastic. Those other arguments or those other possibilities that you were talking about, we can talk about that for ourselves. But first off, like if the animal fills its stomach with plastic and it can't digest the plastic, then it's destroying all that space that it would normally use to digest real food. It can't actually eat food anymore, so the animal's starved, probably. You're not going to eat, or you're not going to get plastic in your body and then die. Like within a year, within 10 years. You guys have plastics in your body right now?
Yes.
Like the chemical compounds? Yeah, you do. How long have you had those in your body?
Since birth.
Yeah. Actually, since before birth, though, right?
Yeah.
That's right. They tested the umbilical cords of mothers. So it gets in our system somehow, maybe from eating fish. I don't think anyone's eating seagulls, but it gets in our bodies many other ways, and to the point where it's already in your body when you're in the womb, because it goes in through your mom's bloodstream, which is crazy. Well, through whatever they're taking in, because you guys know that a baby has a different blood type than the mother. They're actually like separated. So the only thing where they're taking stuff in is through the umbilical cord. So they're getting it some way that way. It's leaching into their system through whatever ways it's leaching into the mother's system. And how is that?
I was reading like an outside source, and it said that we like the polymers and stuff, the properties of microplastics, like they exist in the air too, so they can be inhaled and
right. So let's talk about that really quick. So you've got breathing it in. What else?
Eating it.
Consuming, but eating is pretty much the same thing.
Sure. Well, but you could say consuming, and that would cover eating and drinking, right? Which is the other one of the other aspects. Anyone leave a water bottle in the car on a hot day, and then you drink it later because you didn't? You have to. You're thirsty. What did it taste like? Plastic.
I do that all the time.
Right? And you hate it. You're pissed off that you did it, right? You're like, damn it. I wish I would have taken it with me. So we end up drinking it, and it tastes like plastic. Why does it taste like plastic? Because it is plastic. You can taste what has been leached into it, right? So there's a reason why they've made it illegal, or at least looked down on, to put BPA into water bottles. First, everything has a purpose. So different phthalates, that's what they call them. Has everyone figured out how to say that word? Try it with me. Phthalates. Can you do it? Phthalates. Yeah, if you say it fast, you don't have to sound weird. But those are chemicals that we use to either harden plastics, soften plastics, make them more pliable, stronger against heat or cold, cracking, durability, like all those different possibilities. We put them in carpet, we put them in everything that is plastic, but for purposes that plastic needs to be used for, yeah? And in so doing that, well, breathing it. So when I first read this essay, I had just got a new car, and it was summertime. And I think I wasn't even teaching at the time. I was helping teach. And we went over this, and then I went to my car after 3 hours of sitting in the sun at Fullerton College. And then I went and I opened the door, and there was just this huge heat wave that came out of my car, but the smell of it. You know that smell, right? The new car smell. You guys like that smell?
Mm-hmm.
So like that chemical plastic smell that's outgassing. So smells, they aren't magic, right? When you smell something, that's particulate. Like when you smell someone's fart, what do you think that is? That's poop particles. Do you understand? Do you understand what's going in your nose? Do you understand what's on your pillow and your toothbrush? Don't look into that. Don't look into it. Even if you keep your toothbrush like in a little case, in the drawer, shut away, it's on there.
Wait, but how do the poop particles go from your butt to your, past all that stuff? There's no way, right?
There is a way.
Oh, no, okay.
Yeah, this isn't an argument against masks either or anything like that, but just understand the sizes of things. There's holes in your denim jeans or in your khakis that are larger than the particles that are coming out and creating that smell. There's on a molecular level, right? Do you guys get this? So that will float around even if you keep your door shut in your room because you don't want your little brother going in there and snooping through your stuff. It's on your pillow. Don't even talk to me about your toothbrush if it sits on the sink in a cup. You're definitely brushing your teeth with poop at that point. But but just so you know, like there's no way around it. So I really hope you're not like a germaphobe or anything and that I just traumatized you, but the whole point of that is it's not magic. If you can smell it, if you can taste it, it's there. There's more to that too.
They say that
yeah,
that toilet liners, like in public restrooms, don't actually work because the particles are so small they'll just go through the paper. Even if you layer it, it doesn't work, which is terrifying.
Stop.
Yes, it's true.
So it's all about hovering, is what you said.
You're gonna practice your squat.
Yeah.
Practice your squat.
Yeah, you have to work those quads,
Oh, my legs are dead. Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, do you even lift, bro? You should be working out while you go to the bathroom. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So you're right. You're probably right. Man, even the ones that are like waxy though, like the wax covered ones that feel like they're supposed to be waterproof.
They don't work. That doesn't work.
Okay, well, like I'm still gonna double and triple layer stuff, but yeah, that's, oh gosh. Okay, so what were we saying? So breathing.
What about absorbing, like your skin?
There we go. Absorbing through your skin. This is the biggest organ on your body, right? Obviously the most surface area. Anyone use lotion? And then you're not like all lotiony after a while, it absorbs. Exactly. So if I go to the gym and I come out, okay, not anymore because gyms aren't open, but when I did used to go to the gym, I would come out, I would take off my shirt because it's hot and everything like that. And then what are my seats made out of? What is everything in your car made out of? There's leather if it's a nicer car, but mine, it was called leatherette, which just means plastic. It means like fake leather that's made out of plastic to look and feel like leather, but it is just plastic. If I touch my body to that, then obviously, so what? Just don't touch plastic, yeah? What's your phone made out of? I mean, there's glass. Do you ever put this to your face? Or, okay, what about this? What is your shirt made out of? Have you checked? What about the good shirt, like for working out even, like the moisture wicking ones? What are those made out of?
Those are the worst.
Those are the worst.
Plastic, yeah.
Those are the ones that actually have plastics. And then if it's cotton, well, that's still GMO cotton, which maybe there's no pesticides in that, but yeah, you could take in pesticides through your skin also. Like, honestly, you don't want to live in an agricultural area because it's all in the air there. So like anytime I go on Zillow and fantasize about like where I want to live and the house that I want to buy or something like that, I'm always like, oh, nice house. Oh wait, it's near an agricultural area? Crap. Because like, even if it's like a really fancy area where they like all organic or something, there's no way it's all organic or anything like that. Maybe I think the only way around it is if your shirt is like cotton, but then also organic cotton, which is ridiculous. And there's no way all your clothes are like that, right? My hat is definitely not like that. So you're absorbing it through your skin, you're consuming it, you're breathing it. It's in you no matter what. Fun stuff though, yeah? And you can taste it and smell it. You know it's there. So what are the kinds of things that these do to you? Are they going to give you superpowers? Going to get some Wolverine claws out of this?
You're going to be a real-life Barbie doll.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, maybe that's it. What does it do to your body? Like, what could these things do to you? Like long exposure. Let's say you work in a popcorn manufacturing plant where there was a lawsuit about this too. The popcorn isn't necessarily bad, but think about the bags that they're putting it in. What's on the liner of those bags? What do they use to make it so that, I mean, because it's popcorn and oil and salt or sugar or whatever type of popcorn it is. That stuff is like napalm. How does that not melt through the bag in the microwave? What do they use?
Plastic.
Yeah, but what chemical? What chemical compound?
BPA.
You guys? So BPA is for hardening plastics. Right. This one is for heat.
It's PFOA.
Yep. PFOAs. And that's in a lot of stuff. That's in, that goes in the bag liner that is on your carpet, right? Because you need the carpet. You don't want to have carpet in your house that's just going to catch on fire or be more likely to catch on fire. What if you got like candles out and stuff and you're trying to like make a mood for your girl or guy, and then like you knock that candle down and you're going to have a mood for sure, right? It's going to be such a mood when you guys burn alive in your house or apartment or whatever. So they make it so that carpets nowadays, like all carpets, you're not going to be able to find carpet that doesn't have that kind of chemical in it, because that's just, it's pretty much in like law, in like standards of like how things need to be made now. That stuff's in there. Okay, well, what's it going to do to you? What is the PFOA or any of those things? Do they actually do anything?
And doesn't BPA cause like reproductive issues and also prostate cancer?
Infertility or reproductive issues. So cancer. Yeah, cancer's fun.
Yeah. Prostate cancer.
Ooh, yeah. By the way, is that rare? Does any guys here, do any of you guys know if prostate cancer is a rare thing? What are the statistics on prostate cancer is what I'm asking you. What are the chances that you are going to get prostate cancer? No one? 40%. You are 40% likely to get prostate cancer in your life. That's why when you get to like your mid 40s, doctors are like, I'm going to stick fingers up your butt and check your prostate. No homo. So, yeah. What about women with breast cancer? Is that a big deal? Is there a chance that you're going to get breast cancer? What are your chances? Does anyone know? You women out there? 1 in 3. Now, do you think, it's hard to tell. So just estimating right now, even, do you think that that was what 40% of men were dying from, or 1/3 of women were dying from before? Like, let's say 100, 200, 300 years ago?
I don't think so.
No, I mean, cancer did exist for sure. We didn't necessarily know what it was, and maybe someone would have died of cancer before they died of childbirth or something like that. That's fair. But there's no way that we were having so many problems like this back then. We had other problems like scurvy or yeah, all kinds of stuff. So understand, like, this is significantly affecting us. What about endocrine disruptors? Do you guys remember? I briefly mentioned your endocrine system. What does that do?
Oh, it
Regulates hormones?
like for all your organs, right? It's a function.
Yeah, it regulates your
hormones, yeah.
Hormones. So hormones are a problem when you're a teenager because they're raging out, right? And you're getting like zits and hair all over your body, both, like zits all over your body. I had like a whole bunch of zits on my back at a certain point in high school. You don't want to know that. But I was like, what the hell is happening here? This is crazy. So it'll do stuff like that, which no one wants zits. But imagine from before you are even born, right? We talked about birth problems, birth defects. There are things that during your developmental years, if you are constantly getting this thing, or this thing is constantly in your body because your body doesn't know how to process it, and so it just bounces around in your body, making your hormones do different things, disrupting your endocrine system, that can change the way your body develops completely. That's scary. Like, we're talking about, any women out there, don't tell me, don't answer this, but anyone have a mustache naturally? Do you know someone who needs to wax, or like they're just extra hair here that's just, it's a little thick, you know, and you can't just like bleach it? It's a thing, right? You know, sometimes you razor it, sometimes you pluck it or whatever, but it's like, this is something that is an effect of having hormone issues that we're all dealing with stuff that we didn't even really, I mean, you're not going to make this connection unless you deliberately look at that. And I'm sure there's not going to be any native advertising that comes out that gives you this kind of information, because it's like, they really want you to know that all the products that they're giving you are actually, like, Nike's not going to come out and they're going to be like, yeah, with our new like moisture wicking technology, we make it so that if you're still developing as a child, you may be able to have a smaller penis, and that just gets in the way anyway. You don't want a bigger penis, because then, like, how are you going to run fast, you know? Like, that's just going to get in the way. Penis and balls, you don't need those, right? Just make them smaller, keep them smaller. Guys, right? Like, you're laughing. But that's the thing. There was this documentary done in Canada called The Disappearing Male. And what some scientists were doing is they were going into nature habitats and looking at the fish. They were looking at reptiles, just the animals that they could check, and they were noticing significantly smaller genitalia and issues with genitalia. And they were going over statistics of how there's less and less men, like physiologically, less and less people. We're not talking about what it is to be a man or something. We're just talking about actually being born. there's less. And that's interesting. Now, do we say that it's this? Is that the full connection? Are we going to blame it all on plastics? There's all kinds of things going on. Maybe it's not plastics. Maybe it's just something else. Maybe it's a little bit of everything. Like, it's very hard to make that connection when we're talking global and all of humankind, the human species, and all of the biosphere, I guess, on the planet. That's a huge claim, but there are things pointing to we are having problems and plastic isn't helping. And also then you can talk about it destroying the environment. But I noticed that argument for genitalia is a pretty strong one for guys. So some of you guys are going to start throwing out some of the clothing you have, maybe, or you know, you're already adults, so maybe it's you dodged a bullet, or what's done is done. Let's move on. Did anyone have anything else significant that they wanted to talk about with that? There's a lot of claims of fact. Notice there's not so many sources for explaining what the chemical is, but maybe what it does to the body. Remember, is something already common sense? Is it already something that's known? Or is it something that needs a source of support? So maybe go through there and see, like, if you're trying to figure out how you want to, like, the kinds of things you need to give support for, look through her article and check it out, unless you already did that, because that was part of the response paper. I mean, sorry, I keep calling them that because that's what I used to call them, but it's not really a paper anymore because you're just typing it up and then putting it in a group chat thing, right? So that's why they're just reading responses. There we go. Yeah, anything else on this one? All right, cool.